Chapter 12. The grand halls of the Golden Palace hummed with a deceptive serenity, a gilded cage where whispers of conspiracy slithered through the corridors like venomous serpents. Karti, his centaur form a stark contrast against the opulent backdrop, stood before Elliot, his hazel eyes hardened by the weight of his journey and the burden of his secrets. He had returned from the Fey realm, his heart a maelstrom of grief and fury, a tempest barely contained beneath a stoic facade. "Lord Elliot," he began, his voice steady despite the tremor in his chest, "I regret to inform you that the search for Charles has come to an end." Elliot, his amethyst eyes gleaming with a predatory curiosity that sent shivers down Karti's spine, leaned forward in his opulent throne, a cruel mockery of regal authority. And he purred, his voice laced with a chilling anticipation that made Karti's skin crawl. "He is dead, my lord," Karti confirmed, his voice heavy with a sorrow that threatened to crack his composure. His remains were returned to the Fey realm, to his mother, the great tongueless one. He omitted the details of Charles's transformation, his rebirth prophecy, and his final moments with Karti, the tender kiss a secret he would carry to his grave. He said nothing of Desi's perilous condition, the agonizing miscarriage orchestrated by Celeste, or his suspicions about the venomous web of deceit that ensnared them all. He knew that Elliot, with his cunning mind and vast network of spies, would be watching his every move, listening for any slip of the tongue, any hint of defiance that could expose the truth and endanger Alice. Elliot, his lips curving into a smile that held no warmth, no empathy, nodded slowly, a predator savoring the taste of victory. "A tragic loss indeed," he murmured, his voice dripping with false sympathy, a performance for an audience of one. "But perhaps it is for the best. A rebellious spirit like Charles could have destabilized the delicate balance of our realm." Karti, his jaw clenching at Elliot's blatant disregard for his friend's life, bowed his head in a show of respect, his fingers digging into his palms to contain his rage. "As you say, my lord," he was dismissed, and as he turned to leave, the weight of his grief and the burden of his secrets threatened to crush him. He had failed Charles, failed Desi, and he feared he was losing Alice to the very forces that had destroyed his friends. The news of Desi's death had spread through the palace like wildfire. Elliot, with Celeste's guidance, had spun a tale of a tragic accident, a sudden illness that had claimed the life of his beloved betrothed. A grand funeral was held, attended by dignitaries from across the realms, their faces masked with feigned sorrow and veiled suspicion. Celeste delivered a tearful eulogy, her words dripping with crocodile tears, praising Desi's loyalty and devotion, while Elliot played the role of the grieving fiancé to perfection, his performance a masterpiece of deception that fooled even the most astute observer. Karti watched the spectacle unfold, his heart a knot of rage and despair. He saw Alice standing beside Elliot, her face pale with grief, her eyes filled with a sorrow that mirrored his own. He longed to reach out to her, to comfort her, to tell her the truth, but Elliot kept her close, a possessive arm draped around her waist, his amethyst eyes constantly watching, always vigilant, a predator guarding his prey. That evening Elliot, seeking solace in Alice's company, invited her to a lavish party in the palace gardens. The air thrummed with the melodies of celestial harps and the intoxicating scent of ambrosia, but the festive atmosphere did little to ease the ache in Alice's heart. She felt lost, adrift in a sea of unfamiliar faces and veiled intentions. Elliot, ever attentive, kept her by his side, his charm a gilded cage that both comforted and suffocated her.